Okay, welcome back. Now it's time to get our data. So I'm at number 4 here. Okay, both you and your partner should practice transferring the small seeds quickly from the large dish to the small dish before competition begins. The large dish of small seeds represents your environment, the island environment where you live and feed. The small petri dishes are the stomachs, and you may only go one seed at a time to count. You only get credit for a seed that falls into and stays in your stomach or your petri dish. So round 1, when given the signal to start, and we time it for about 30-35 seconds, each of you would be picking up small seeds with your beak, your tool, and like I said, I'm just going to use the tweezers and the plain pliers. And you're going to pick up seeds one at a time from the large dish, place them in your stomach, the small dish. Do that for 4 trials, so you each do it twice. And so I'm just going to show you real quick what it looks like. So tweezers. So I just go one at a time. Okay. And then if I had this tool, this student would do their best to try to get one at a time. Oops, I kind of got 2 there because of those little ones. And let me try to get one more, just one more. These are kind of awkward. I don't quite have the dexterity for this. There we go. Okay. So at the end of the time, when time is up, you'd have full stomachs. So I have a couple full stomachs here. Okay, and you would count each of them in your stomach, and then you each would fill it in the data table, and then we would repeat that. So you'd each do it twice. That would be 4 trials, then you have to get the average. So over here, I've got some data for you. This is the round 1, no competition. You can fill in on your data table. 10 for trial 1, 27 trial 2, trial 3 is 17, trial 4 is 19. And to get an average, okay, to get an average, remember, we have to add them up. So 10 plus 27 plus 17 plus 19 equals, divided by 4, equals 18.25. When you round that, it's 18. Okay? So there's your first data table for no competition. So going on to the next page, it says, which is what we just did, to calculate the number of seeds for the 4 trials, round to the nearest seed, which we did. And it says, in order to survive, your species needs to collect an average of 13 seeds per trial. If you achieve that goal, you remain healthy and continue to live on the original island and eat small seeds. If your team averages less than 13, you have to migrate to a new island and you get a different food supply to avoid starvation. So those are the folks that will go to the large seeds. We're not going to use large seeds today, but that does happen a lot. Kids just can't quite get 13 as their average, so they go on to that. And then you'll find out if maybe your beak is better adapted for the large seeds. Just because you couldn't eat the small seeds doesn't mean you can't eat the, quote, eat the large ones, okay? So now we're going to go on to number 2, which is increased competition, some competition, I should say. I'm sorry. So now you're going to be competing. So now both of our people would be eating from one plate. You don't get separate plates now. You're both feeding from just one There we go. You're just feeding from the one plate. And again, when you're done at the end, you add them up. You put in your data, add them up, divide by 4, and you get an average. So let's go to my second data table for you. Okay. So here's the round 2. This group got 20, 16, 17, and 18. I add them all up. I divide by 4. And our average here was 18. Okay, so since we got more than 13, we survive, and now we go on to round 3. At this point, anyone who doesn't get 13, down here it'll tell you if your team collects fewer than 13 seeds, you and your partner are now eliminated. So some groups don't even go on to round 3. They just have to sit it out. So round 3 is pretty cool. In this round, you're going to compete with all the finches. So sometimes we got like 10 kids trying to eat, quote, eat from one plate. Okay? So it might be, so you still got the small seeds because we didn't use any of the large. And you're going to have 10 kids trying to eat from this one plate. And they've all got their own stomach and so on. So at the end of that round, the group that I use their data, okay, so now they've got, here we are, round 3, increased competition. So you got to just think about, pretend like there were a bunch of you eating from one plate. These kids got 13, 12, 15, and 14. And again, to get the average, you add these up. Since there's 4, we divide by 4, and it gives you 14. So you can see that the increased competition made an impact because they had 18 average the first time. They had 18 on average the second round, but this time they only got 14. So when you're out there competing, you're going to get less. Okay, I hope I was clear enough.